Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be finding out what happens if you bring Micah's body to the Pagan Ritual Site. So this is probably going to be the last video we do with Micah's body, bringing it to a certain location, because there's only so many possible outcomes you can do. I mean, if you bring him to one town, the reaction is going to be the same if you bring him to another town, but I was intrigued with the Pagan Ritual Site. This is something a lot of you guys wanted me to investigate, and it was something I got curious about too, because in my last video when we brought his body to Beecher's Hope, or at least attempted to, I noticed that over time his body would start to decay and gather more snow, even though he wasn't on top of Mount Hagen anymore. So I became very interested to see what would happen if we brought him to a very spooky spot like the Pagan Ritual Site. Now, in case this is the first video you're stumbling upon and have no idea how to move Micah's body, I'll leave a link to a video I did in the description a couple of days ago. Long story short, what you have to do is take his weapon, then you have to sleep, come back to Mount Hagen, and you should be able to pick up his body. It's pretty simple and it's pretty easy. Now, before we get to the Pagan Ritual Site, a lot of you guys were also asking, like, are there any interesting or useful things around Micah's campsite? There are a few chests that you can actually open that will provide some health cures and some other stuff, like some oat cakes and some coffee. But for the most part, it's just general provisions. You're not going to find any, like, rare exclusive items up here. There just isn't really anything going on. So now that we've got Micah's body, it is time to journey to the Pagan Ritual Site, which is on like the west side of the Owengilla Dam. It's actually pretty easy to find. It's not too terribly long of a ride from the top of Mount Hagen. And in case you guys have never been to the Pagan Ritual Site, which I'm sure there's a few number of you that just have never explored this place before, it's kind of hard to explain what it is. I don't know if I'm the best person, but long story short, it's like this voodoo symbol in the ground in white. There's 4 sets of stones and candles, sort of at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And in the center, there is this bloody pole with a body impaled on it. There's a mask on there too. And at the 12 o'clock location, there's sort of this like bag of skulls, and there's a goat's head. And the reason this place is so unique is because there's a lot of rumors of like sacrifices occurring and bodies decaying and things happening. So I thought this would be an interesting spot to bring him to. So that's what I did right here. We dropped Micah's body off in the center of the circle. And there you go. You can see he is right there. Now, one thing that I did not do during this experiment is I didn't mess with anything on the Pagan Ritual Site. Like, I didn't take the mask. I didn't take the Valerian route. I didn't try and shoot, any of the objects. I didn't throw any dynamite or light anything on fire. I wanted this to be all about Micah's body and not me throwing other variables into the ring here. No pun intended. By, launching fire bottles and dynamite and stuff like that. The only thing I did was inspected the site just so it would be a little bit easier to find. Now, one important thing to note here is the X on the minimap. That is Micah's body. Now, I was actually interested to see what would happen the first time I slept and waited some time, because in other instances when we had done experiments with Micah's body, when we had left the area, his body would always disappear. So I was curious to see what would happen this time. Would it stay there? Would it change? What would occur? So I slept for the maximum amount of time. I don't know how long it was. I think it was like 20 hours to noon and then 18 hours to the morning. And the first thing I noticed is that the corpse was still there when I checked the minimap. So that automatically was great news. And the fact that the Pagan Ritual Site kept the body there, it meant that something potentially could have happened. Now, when I arrived for the first time, the only thing I noticed is that his body was like flipped over. Remember, when we set him down, Micah's body was like on his back. Now it's like on his side. It's almost as if like someone came to the body and literally tilted it on its side. They almost sort of put Micah in the fetal position. Now, another thing I noticed is that the body did have more snow on it. Now, that's certainly not unusual, especially based off of where we are. I mean, you guys can even see right now, you can see John Marston's breath. So it's pretty cold. It's like 31 degrees. So snow is definitely possible in an area like this. But it is unique that his body still continues to gather snow. And for whatever reason, it was flipped over on its side. That just seems really, really strange. So that's the first time I actually came back to visit the Pagan Ritual Site, and that is what happened. Now, I wanted to keep doing this, keep sleeping, and keep coming back to see if we could notice anything different. Now, when I went back for the next time, it was nighttime, and I didn't notice anything had changed. Maybe his body had gotten a little bit more snow on it, but at this point, it was kind of hard to tell. It was also at night. Now, in case you guys are curious, at nighttime, the only difference here is the candles are actually on, or I should say they're lit, but that's really the only other thing that occurs at this site at night. Nothing else, nothing more. So I wanted to sleep some more to see if there would be any more differences. So what I did is I waited around, was able to sleep, and then returned the next day. And again, I didn't really notice anything. Maybe the body was starting to decay more. Maybe it was getting more snow. But other than it being just bright and noon and sunny, there really wasn't anything going on. So at this point, I was starting to get a little bit bummed out because I was thinking, man, there's nothing going to happen here at the Pagan Ritual Site. His body's just going to start gathering more and more snow on it. So I found that to be kind of disappointing, but I definitely did not want to give up hope that something really cool would ultimately happen here. So once again, I kept sleeping, and when I came back the next time, I was shocked. I noticed that there was no X on the map, which is what I was using to sort of guide myself to the Pagan Ritual Site, because every time I slept, my camp would be, a good bit away. And I noticed his body was gone. Now, the only thing that remained was like the bottom half of his torso, spine, and like left upper leg. How bizarre is that? So what's weird is this doesn't even like normally happen. I mean, you don't go from what Micah's body was to one day later only being a skeleton. Like, body degradation doesn't happen that quickly. It's almost as if it was like sacrificed, and like every bit of Micah's body other than the bones happened to be left behind. That's so weird. And that also raises the question, well, what happened to the rest of his body? Where did it possibly go? Because there's only like I said, a little bit of the spine, the hip, a leg. That is just so freaky right there, that only that part of his body is remaining. However, things get even freakier. So I wanted to sleep and come back to see if anything else would occur, like would more of the body disappear. So what I ended up doing is I slept, and then I ultimately returned to the area. And what happened was so freaky. This time, instead of the lower half of his torso showing up, it was the upper half of his torso. It was the top part of his spine, his rib cage, his skull, and then his left arm. What the heck is going on here? Yet the rest of his body, the lower half, is no longer there. So, like, did the sacrifice take place in two different parts or two different times? Like, this is beyond weird right now. I don't even know what to say to explain something like this. So if you guys feel like you have a better idea of what's going on here when we brought Micah's body to the Pagan Ritual Site, please let us know in the comments down below, because I have never experienced anything like this when bringing a body to the Pagan Ritual Site in Red Dead Redemption 2. So if you thought that was weird, things are about to crank it up a notch, because I wanted to come back and visit one more time. And when I visited for another time, guess what had happened? The original set of bones was back. The upper part of his rib cage and skull and arm were vanished, and now it's just the lower half again. What the heck is going on here? This is incredibly weird. Micah's body keeps like shape-shifting into different bones. So I definitely think something creepy is going on here. I can't really put my finger on what it might actually be. Is it sacrifice? Is it related to the Pagan Ritual Site? Is it just a glitch? on Rockstar's end because Micah's body is not supposed to be removed from Mount Hagen. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there and hopefully trying to solve this mystery. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.